There's a specific kind of quiet panic that happens in a grocery store aisle. It's not loud, no one is screaming. It happens entirely inside your head. You pick up an item you have bought 1,000 times before. Maybe it's coffee, maybe it's beef, maybe it's olive oil. You look at the price tag, you pause, you blink, and for a split second, your brain rejects the number. Open the news today, and they will tell you the fire's out. They will show you charts where the line goes down. They will tell you the economy is strong, so why does it feel like you are slowly suffocating? You do the mental math, you check your bank balance, and then you put it in the cart anyway, because you have to eat. For the last 3 years, we have been told a story. First, we were told the price hikes were transitory, just a glitch in the matrix caused by a global lockdown. Then we were told it was peaking. Then we were told the war on inflation was won. Because the fire isn't out, it just moved into the walls. We are living through the greatest economic gaslighting campaign in modern history. The prices aren't rising again. They never actually stopped. And the reason isn't just supply chains or wars or greedy corporations. It's the math. And the math is terrifying. Let's start with the lie you're being sold right now. You open your phone, you see a headline. Inflation drops to 3%. That sounds like victory. 3% is a small number. It's manageable. It sounds like prices are coming down. But that is not what that number means. Inflation is a rate of speed. It is the velocity at which your money is losing value. Imagine you are in a car. You are driving toward a cliff. That cliff is financial ruin. In 2020, you were driving at 20 miles per hour. By 2022, you were doing 100 miles per hour. That was the crisis. Now, in 2024, the central bank has slammed on the brakes. We are now doing 40 miles per hour. The government celebrates. They say, look, we slowed down. But here's the problem. You are still moving forward. You are still driving toward the cliff. You're just getting there slightly slower than you were last year. When inflation drops from 9% to 3%, prices do not go back to where they were. They just get 3% more expensive on top of the 9% increase from last year, which was on top of the 7% increase from the year before. This is the magic of compounding, used as a weapon against your wallet. Since 2020, the aggregate price level, the cost of existing, has risen roughly 20 to 25%. If your salary has not risen by 25% in that same time frame, you are statistically, mathematically poor. You're working the same hours, doing the same job, but the currency you are paid in has dissolved in your hands. So why is this happening? To understand that, we have to look at the engine. The standard explanation for inflation is simple. Too much money chasing too few goods. Imagine an auction. There's one painting and 10 people with $100 each. The painting sells for $100. Now imagine a helicopter flies over and drops $1 million on the crowd. Suddenly, everyone bids. The painting sells for $100,000. The painting didn't change. It's not a better painting. The money just became worthless. In 2020, to save the world from collapse, the Federal Reserve and the government injected trillions of dollars into the system. It was a necessary adrenaline shot to a dying patient. But money is like water. It has to flow somewhere. At first it flowed into stocks, then crypto, then real estate. That was the wealth effect. Everyone felt rich. But then the dam broke and the water flooded the real economy. The grocery store, the gas station, the hardware store. So the Federal Reserve decided to dry up the water. They raised interest rates. Usually when the economy slows down, companies lower prices to attract customers. That is basic capitalism, but that's not what happened this time. In the chaos of the last few years, corporate giants discovered something incredible. They realized that you, the consumer, had been trained to expect pain. You expected prices to rise. So when their costs went up by 5%, they didn't raise prices by 5%. They raised them by 10% or 15%. This is the primary tool they have. By raising rates, they make debt expensive. Mortgages get harder to get. Business loans get costly. Credit card interest spikes. The goal is brutal, but simple. They want you to stop spending money. They want businesses to stop hiring. They're explicitly trying to increase unemployment and reduce your purchasing power, because if you are too broke to buy things, prices will stop going up. It's a controlled crash. But there is a glitch in the system, a variable they didn't account for, Shutterstock. They called it inflation. But if you look at the earnings calls of major food, energy, and retail conglomerates, you see a different story. Profit margins hit record highs during the inflation crisis. This is often called greedflation, but that's too emotional. It's simpler than that. It's leverage. In a concentrated economy where 3 companies own all the soda brands and 4 companies own all the meatpacking plants, they don't have to compete on price. They just have to agree not to lower them. And here's the dark irony. Even if the raw cost of wheat or oil crashes back down, the price of your bread and gas doesn't follow it down as fast. Economists call this rocket and feather. Prices go up like a rocket when costs rise. They float down like a feather when costs fall. Why? Because they know you'll pay it. You've anchored your expectations to the new price. $7 for a box of cereal is the new normal. Why would they ever charge $4 again? But corporate pricing power is just the symptom. The disease is structural. For the last 40 years, we lived in a deflationary paradise. We exported our labor to cheap countries. We got cheap energy from Russia and the Middle East. We got cheap goods from China. That era is over. Geopolitics has returned with a vengeance. Nations are hoarding resources. Supply chains are fracturing. We are moving from just-in-time efficiency to just-in-case security. Building factories at home is safer, yes, but it is expensive. Paying American or European wages is expensive. This means the baseline for inflation has shifted. We aren't going back to the 0% or 1% inflation world of the 2000s. We are entering a world where 3% to 4% is the floor, not the ceiling. And this brings us to the biggest risk of all. The risk that nobody talks about on the evening news. The bifurcation of the economy. If you own assets, if you own a home, stocks, or gold, inflation is actually kind of nice. The dollar value of your house goes up. Your debt gets inflated away. But if you are a renter, if you live on wages, you're being eaten alive. It means you need to stop waiting for 2019 to come back. It isn't coming back. The prices you see on the shelf today are the permanent floor. The dollar you hold in your pocket is not a store of value. It is a melting ice cube. The system is designed to inflate. It needs to inflate. The government has too much debt to ever pay it back in real dollars. The only way out is to print the money, dilute the currency, and make the debt easier to service. They are bailing out the system with your purchasing power. Prices are rising again because the system is working exactly as intended. The question isn't when it will stop. The cost of shelter has skyrocketed. Services, haircuts, insurance, car repairs are soaring because labor is expensive. These are things you cannot import from China. The rising prices aren't just about milk. They are about the cost of entry into the middle class. That door is closing. Are you ready?